In recent times, this has become a pretty lightning rod issue, and that is the philosophical concept of rationalism and whether or not it can be used in Dawah. That's where it's being, the primary focus is like on online Dawah. Especially in Western liberal societies, you're usually engaging with atheists. And so you're trying to prove the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala based on pure reason. Or if you want to generalize, we want to prove unseen matters based solely on reason alone, right? Are we allowed to use that in Dawah, and are there limitations if we are allowed to use that?
You can use rational arguments where we're looking at proving the existence of Allah Azza wa Jal, right? So the scholars have looked at this in the past, and they've actually given rational arguments for the existence of Allah Azza wa Jal. You'll find Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayhi doing that. You'll find Imam al-Shafi'i rahmatullahi doing that as well. But that was along with the other proofs that they had, that they would use the Quran, the Sunnah, and then they would use this approach. Of course, the approach that you're using would differ based on the person you're speaking to. So, for example, a person who's an atheist that comes to you and asks you for proof of Allah's existence, giving a proof from the Quran will not do much. Giving them the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam wouldn't do much either. But going down the route of discussing with them in this rational manner, that will, to an extent, it might, convince them. It might have more to think about, whatever the case be. So we find the ulama using this. Now the problem is when this becomes everything and you begin to discard the Quran and the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that is the problem that we face. A person should build a rational argument around the verses and the ahadith. So you have a sound basis for that argument, right? And then you can move forward with that argument and you can design it the way that you want and you can use that approach. Sometimes when you use a rational argument that's devoid of this, it might come back to bite you and basically harm you and destroy your own arguments in a different area of the aqeedah. So, that's to have in mind, that you can use it, but be careful and watchful as to how you're using it. And I would not at all advise a person who's a novice in this field to go about using rational arguments of that level, because if you're not that well versed in these concepts, you might say something that would come back to destroy your argument, or in the eyes of those who are listening to you, it appear that you are unable to prove the existence of Allah Azza wa Jal, and the one that you're debating with has a greater argument than you have.